So we're going to kind of take this event and now just kind of just move it into a new direction. And what we're going to do is introduce next year's legislation that I think everybody should hear out and potentially maybe get behind for next year. Our first guest, he's a delegate here from the 9th District. He is from Giles County, and he is proposing some legislation which is going to take us way back, I think you could say. And he's here to explain this to everybody. And so he is submitting hemp legislation to the General Assembly next year. And a lot of people have a lot of misconceptions about hemp. A lot of people just think it's marijuana. Unfortunately, it's like saying that eggplants are tomatoes. But, I'm going to let him explain to you all of that. So, if you could, let's give a warm welcome to Delegate Joseph Yost. All right, there you go, everybody.
Well, thank you all. It's a pleasure to be here. And I want to thank Dwayne for a wonderful evening and really delicious food. Dwayne is absolutely right. I am not only planning on submitting the bill, it's actually already done. So if you get on the Legislative Information System for the Commonwealth, House Bill 1277 is officially the Virginia Industrial Hemp Farming Act. Now, let's just start out this conversation really quickly. It is not marijuana. I promise you, it is not marijuana. If you want to debate the policy of allowing legalization of marijuana in Virginia, have at it, but that is not this debate, I promise. And I will be very honest with you. This idea was brought to me a couple years ago by a good friend of mine who is the former chairman of the Montgomery County Board of Supervisors, which is part of my district. And when he first came in, I was like, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life. I would not have even thought this would have been a good idea. But the more research that I did, the more looking into it I did, I am convinced this will be the next agricultural revolution, particularly for Southwest and Southside Virginia. Now, industrial hemp has a long history in the Commonwealth, dating all the way back to 1619, when the House of Burgesses, our predecessors in the House of Delegates, was first formed. One of the first laws that we passed in Virginia actually mandated that you had to grow industrial hemp in Virginia. You had to do it. And so from that point forward, up until about the 1930s, 40s, 50s, hemp was a booming industry in all of Virginia and the country. What a lot of people don't realize, the uses for hemp are enormous. In 1938, a Popular Mechanics article, then in 1938, said there were 25,000 known different uses for industrial hemp at that point. Only knows where we could be today if we continue that industry. We probably have 50,000 or 75,000 known. If you look around, there's probably not a major grocery store, whether it's Walmart, Kroger, wherever, you cannot go into where you cannot find some product that has some hemp component in it, whether it be cosmetics, whether it be plastics, textiles, paper. What a lot of people don't realize, Thomas Jefferson's first two drafts of the Declaration of Independence, Dutch hemp paper. The flag that Betsy Ross made was made out of hemp-based fabric. This stuff can do anything. Right now in Australia, where you can actually grow industrial hemp and manufacture it, they're building a car completely out of industrial hemp right now. There's a fellow in Virginia Beach, actually, who's building his house completely out of industrial-based products. The uses are endless, and the United States is the only country in the world where you cannot grow industrial hemp legally. And so we want to change that. We want to open it up to the small farmers. We introduced the bill. We work with all of our different stakeholders in this group, in this Commonwealth for that. There are a couple other states that are already ahead of us, Kentucky being our neighbors, which are one. But I want us to really get behind this bill come January. I'm cautiously optimistic. I feel like the potential's there, but we just got to get past the education aspect of the fact that this really isn't Mary Jane, I promise. A lot of questions that people come at me and ask about is what are the differences? Well, I'll give you a couple of facts real quick. Marijuana has THC in it, which which is the component that makes you high. It's the psychoactive chemical that makes you high. Typical marijuana plants have 10 to 30% THC content in them. Industrial hemp has 0.3%. If you want to smoke industrial hemp and get high, have at it. But you will have to smoke about an acre where a telephone pole is. And yes, they do look similar, but that's where the buck stops there. The leaves look very similar, but the plants themselves are vastly different. Dwayne and I were talking about it's like the tomato eggplants. Same family, very different plants. But as far as structure goes, marijuana, anybody's familiar with it, I'm not going to ask. I'm not going to put anybody else. Looks like a tomato plant, sort of. Industrial hemp looks like a cornstalk. It gets tall and it grows straight. It's got a bush at the top. If you can't tell the difference, you might have some problems. But moving forward, like I said, I'm very cautiously optimistic. I think we stand a really good chance here. Right now, industrial hemp is going for $250 an acre in Canada. In the United States, soybeans are only going for $74 an acre. And so I hope that we can all get behind and support it. I understand if you're cautiously looking at it. Please feel free to ask me questions, send me an email, call me. I would be more than happy to sit down and talk to you. It's what I've been doing for months on end now. I could talk about hemp for as long as Joel talked about his speech earlier. But I don't want to take any other time. It's been a long night. I appreciate the invitation. Beautiful area down here. Like I said, I'm from Giles. I represent Giles, Virginia Tech, Blacksburg, Bradford, Pulaski. Lifelong resident of the Southwest Virginia area and absolutely love it. So thank you again, Dwayne.